going to be left open here for WE. The thing is, they haven't just instantly gone towards this in the past. It has been a little bit further down the list before they bring that pick in, especially when they're on the blue side. You don't want to be picking that Galio blind in a lot of situations.
No, it can struggle a lot if you go into the wrong matchup with the Galio. Morgan goes straight for the Ornn because that's one that doesn't really struggle in any matchup. It's a very safe pick for the top lane, and that's exactly what he's going to go for. Cube, hovering a Camille right now, it'd be very early to lock in a pick that's so polarizing.
And it gives away exactly what you're trying to do as VICI, right? You're going to be going for the split push. Last second swap over to the Aatrox.
Baited us.
I think as well, I do like this Aphelios takeaway by VICI, because if you've got the Ornn and then the Aphelios on WE side, they've got this very strong scaling. So instead, VICI will take that away from themselves and prevent a little bit of that.
Jalmung goes for this Ezreal for himself. Yuumi would be available if they wanted to opt into that, but I kind of like... no, just get a Galio, get Teachmar at his comfort, but I kind of like the idea of Missing not being stuck on something like a Yuumi anyway, because Missing, we saw it in that game so many times, he was able to find magical hooks onto Ivory.
At this moment, though, I actually do like the Teachmar Galio, because you've seen from VICI, okay, we've got the likes of this Aatrox here. Aatrox needs to be in the middle of the fight. He wants to be running in aggressively, so you've got this massive zone control that Teachmar offers, and it makes it very difficult for Cube to operate in these fights. So even though he's got a good matchup in the top lane, he's going to struggle when it gets to these kerfuffles.
The Yuumi is going to be banned away, so whether I like it or not, Missing's not playing it. And when you look at the way that these compositions have panned out so far, we may have a bit of a role reversal here, Dagda, because there's a lot of mid-game power on the side of WE and a lot of late-game scaling on the side of VICI.
It's only so far the Aphelios, and I mean, you're still going to be kind of... Oh, like, you haven't really locked in where your scaling is going to be, or if you want to be scaling on VICI, Aphelios is just the other pick right now, and you can have some later scaling, but there's still the options if they do want to go for something like the Azir for Forge, but the Azir hasn't been good for Forge. He's only got a 0.3 KDA on that at the moment. That's not the best. It's only off of one game still.
I thought you were going to say 0.3% win rate then. I was like,
oh, Jesus.
Not the pick, not the pick.
No, but still, I think for VICI's side, you can opt in towards a little bit more of these mid-game focused mid laners. See what you can do against this Galio. Forge has been a big proponent of something like a Sylas, which I think could work quite well here. And sliding into this, we want to go forward, we want to go aggressive stall, but giving you the opportunity to steal away the Ornn ultimate and the Galio ultimate and just be as useful.
And WE are on exactly the same page, because that was their final back.
Yeah.
As they take the Sylas off of the board. So you're on the right path, that's for sure. But it was taken off. And now it's going to be the Echo locked in here for Forge in that. I guess it could be in the jungle still, but I'd expect it to be for Forge in the mid lane.
Yeah, we'll be going towards Forge, I imagine, here. And it fits directly into his wheelhouse. He likes melees, he likes assassins, and you got a melee assassin now in this Echo. So Forge is going to be looking to try and play just this, match the Galio roaming and try and see if he can at least keep toe-to-toe with Teachmar. But still, I like that Beishang is going towards this aggressive jungle pick. We talked about how when you have Teachmar on this Galio, Beishang likes to move into the enemy jungle, and having the advantage when it comes to the tempo with this Graves pick gives the opportunity to do so. And you've just paired it with this big all-in engage tool and Missing set support. So this is great for playing around Teachmar, Beishang, and Missing.
Honestly, WE have the composition that they always lean on into. Typically, you'd see Beishang going to carry like the Echo himself, but you know, you've got an AP mid laner, so why not?
Okay, so we're getting a bit of flexibility in this draft here. So it looks like Forge is going to take the Aatrox mid. You're going to have the Mordekaiser go top, and Ike's going towards this Echo jungle. So this is where, okay, Forge can have a really strong laning phase against Teachmar and look to bully him out consistently. But if you end up falling behind this Forge, or you end up getting a lot of pressure from Beishang, you're not going to be able to keep up with just a wave clear from the Winds of War of the Galio.
Reassuring hand on the shoulder there from Koma. As his work is done, he's going to have to leave the stage after giving a few final words. And let's remember, this is the team that we were saying. This is the Summer team. This is the team that has to prove themselves here this split. They almost did it in game number 1, but fell short when it came to the late game team fighting. This time around, they've changed up the draft. They've changed up the style, and they've got Forge on an Aatrox in the mid lane. They're up against WE. WE kind of have quite a few signature picks here, so they might just have their work cut out.
They do have a good layout here for VICI, though. You've got Mordekaiser who can do reasonably well against the Ornn. You've now got Forge who's able to go aggressive against Teacher Man, control this Galio pick in a very different style from what we've seen previously. And then as well, you hit your mid game really well because you've got that. You've got the Aphelios, though, that can scale towards the later stage alongside Ix, who's more than likely gone for the Dark Harvest here. You've still got that opportunity to take it to the later point of the game.
We'll see how Forge is going to be able to match up against Teacherma in this mid lane. It's always going to be the story of WE of how well is Teacherma going to perform, how well is his opponent going to be able to play around him. Jomung on this Ezreal. You can expect him to be the focus for WE, as he often is.
I want to clarify here, though, that although we see the Aphelios and although we see the Echo, the late game isn't really guaranteed on either side for these squads. Because you've got an Ornn there, it makes it very difficult for this Aphelios on VICI's side to operate in these team fights. He's got to play it very safe to begin with. And the Ornn can try and help bypass some of the fall-off potential from the likes of Jomung, as well as Beishang being able to match very effectively against the Echo. So this isn't as cut and dry as, oh, well, you know, VICI want to hang on until the later stages. It is very much going to be a case of figuring out how they spike at different points off their items and how they can use that to their advantage throughout this game.
The Colonel disagrees, my friend. The Colonel reckons beyond the 4-minute mark, this is all about VICI.
By 3%. It's not the biggest of margins.
Look, if I'm going to flip a coin, I'm going to go for the one that's 53. The heads is slightly heavier. That's what they tell me. But it does depend on the coin. Battery's not included, for that matter. VICI starting off on the red buff here, and Beishang and Morgan moving in. They're going to stick to it, though. They're going to go for this 2v2. Ike's forced away. Cube realizing this is not a fight he can go for either. Ike's already using a pot.
So as long as Beishang delays Ike's here, he's already forced out one pot. Now going to walk around actually straight into Ike's again.
He's just going for a 1v1 at this point. Z-Drive going to be procced. Now chased out of the jungle by the chickens is Ike's.
So Echo's first clear is really low. So with Beishang putting aggression here onto Ike's, forcing a bunch of these pots out, Ike's will have to back early, whereas Beishang can take as much damage as he wants because Graves just clears so handily with that knockback on the autos.
Not to mention the fact that Beishang forced out this smite from Ike's. Oh, nicely done by Teachima. Dodges the sweet spot and then gets a knock up for his own. Forge actually, I feel like maybe should have won that trade, but very nicely played on the Galio.
Well played by I mean, look, let's be realistic. If anyone's going to understand how to play Galio, it'll be Teacherma, but Beishang now moving down towards this bottom side. He's not trying to do too much here and putting pressure into Forge. More so, he's trying to match this clear from Ike's, have Teacherma here in the wings as well to support him, as you can see how low Ike's is gone.
Ike's not having a good time.
Oh,
no! Oh, Ike's. Oh, it's all gone wrong. He just wants his Olaf. He just wants his Olaf.
So the push there from Beishang was to make sure Forge had to stay under tower. So if he ends up fighting against Ike's, it's always that 1v1 or potential for Teacherma to come across. So Beishang now stealing away majority of Ike's camps. And when you've got Teacherma who's pushing well in the mid, Beishang can continue with this pressure, and Ike's now has got nothing left on that topside jungle.
This is not how the jungle is meant to start. You're not meant to get every single one of your opponent's camps right off of the bat.
Well, this is why you don't often flex Echo into the jungle against the Graves. Like, this is a really bad mashup, and Beishang has done a really good job in reading this and putting the pressure on top.
And the communication here from WE as well, basically saying, look, I'm going to get the bottom scuttle. You guys take the top one. Let's just completely deny Ike's everything this game.
And they can continue to do this. Like, the thing that only gets worse for Ike's is when you hit level 6 from Teacherma, because then he's got that ultimate to join in at a moment's notice. It makes it very difficult for you to try and catch up as well, because Beishang clears so much faster than you, and you're now levels behind.
And I want to quickly clarify something, because the CS lead is about 8 in favor of Beishang right now, but look at the minimap. There are no camps on the side of Ike's. Everything is up for Beishang, so that CS lead may be small now, but it's only getting bigger.
And look how quickly he's clearing it. I mean, you said 8. Now we're even stretching that to 14 at the moment. Like, this is just going to keep going more and more. Never mind. Whatever. I am not able to math today for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on.
Oh dear. Well,
now he's 47
right.
CS ahead off of his blue buff being
see if you
taken.
can calculate this one. This is going to be 16, because the thing is it goes up in 4s in the jungle, so it's...
Look, I don't need any of your cheek today, alright, much.
Well, you're not going to get either of my cheeks, for that matter. Here comes Hung in the mid lane. He got a hook. Oh, he's got a flay as well. Teachama's actually going to go down. I thought he got away with that one, but Hung says no.
Well played by Hung. This is the thing, when you've got an Ezreal bot lane, you can go for these roams. You don't have to worry too much about iBoy being in trouble. Manages to get that great roam to set up Forge, who should have been in control, but was struggling a little bit in this lane.
Really nicely done from Hung to roam away, and iBoy going to be fine on the Aphelios to solo farm for a little bit.
Oh, that is sad times. Even after the flash, Hung manages to catch him, but yeah, well played by Hung to read that you're going to be backing now as Teachermat to try and finish off some of your items, and to get him right on that recall.
That's rough, and that's both of his summoners as well, so Forge with a huge advantage in that mid lane now. But he is going to be hitting that level 6 mark very shortly, so expect Teachama to look for a play elsewhere.
It does hurt a little bit for Teachermat though, because one of the big things is when you use this ultimate on your first try, it's okay, going to be spotted by VICI. Maybe they can back it up if you're not able to set up properly, but not having the flash means you can't follow the runaway for a big taunt into the Justice Punch. So this actually makes those roaming squads a little bit less dangerous from WE.
Beishang going to start this dragon off, realizes he's spotted, and maybe is going to change his mind on this one.
Nah.
Nope, no, he's going to commit to this one. Ike's hanging around, but so is Missing, and it means that I think that they have to back away from this one. Beishang has smite, but he's hooked. Oh, this is huge if Ike's could get the kill, but Beishang survives. Honey Fruit is available. In they go with a face breaker and a haymaker. And plenty more rhymes to come.
Thought Teachermat was going to collapse onto Forge there. You had multiple members from WE, and still could, but Forge will be able to steal away the Scuttle Crab. But at this stage, you're only kind of hurting Ike's a little bit more. He's still a level behind. Beishang, again, doesn't take damage because he's a Graves jungle, so he doesn't really need help to go through this jungle route.
That's a rough trade for Teachama. Forge really starting to get the best of this matchup now. He's got a bit of cooldown from that Caulfield's Warhammer, and he knows it.
I want to see this aggression from WE keep up. Actually, iBoy freezing the wave here. It's fine at the moment because you don't have any camps on this bottom side, but he has to be super careful because if you continue to freeze like this, there is the opportunity for Beishang to move in aggressively onto Ike's on the bottom side with the help of Jomong and Missing. But as iBoy, you kind of have to do this right now because you realize, look, we are so far behind when it comes to the jungler that it's going to be Beishang able to influence the map wherever the hell he wants.
And also, iBoy, I think, is aware that he is a huge portion of the damage for this team. You know, you've got an Aatrox, you've got a Mordekaiser. Both of them are going to do great in that melee situation, but they're not really going to be able to get onto Jomong in many of these fights. So a lot of the pressure is going to be on iBoy in the late game team fights to be able to be the consistent damage.
Dragon hasn't been taken by WE, which is a nice benefit for VICI right now, because they do want to wait until Ike's at least can get some semblance of control back in this jungle, start to clear out without much hassle from Beishang. You are looking for iBoy to get to a couple more items under his belt, so the later these dragons go, the better.
Oh, Taunt comes through. Forge going to be caught up here, and he's happy to 2v1 this one. Not even scared. It's going to be the World Ender use, though.
The knockup from Forge catching both Beishang and Teachermat will shut that down. Now Hung, though, moving across, knowing that, hey, look, we won't have Teachermat disrupting us as we try to clear out these wards. But Hung is very low on levels because he was trying to teeter towards helping Ike's, helping Forge in this mid lane. So the Thresh is going to be pretty squishy when we get towards some of these fights, if they happen anytime soon.
Let's revisit this jungle quickly as well, because Ike's, despite the really unfortunate early game, has closed the gap somewhat. He's only going to be, you know, a little bit behind at this point. I'm not even going to attempt the math stack there. It's too complicated for me.
Look, maths in general is hard, you know?
Unless you're the Colonel, of course.
True.
That's what he specializes in as a chicken salesman. But ultimately,
I mean,
the
they say
point
don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? I mean,
don't
math.
count your chickens before Teacher must fry them, as he is the chicken in this game.
Oh, Forge.
This is dicey for Teachama. A Q or two would do the job. Forge flashes away from the Taunt. And you know what? They're happy with that. Missing now looks for a showstopper. Oh, he's not level 6. Never mind. He's going to walk away instead. Hung wants to find a death sentence. Teacherma somehow back to half HP again.
So Teacherma swapped to heal just as that fight was about to kick off to heal, get into range. But the big issue here is, well, Forge is controlling everything happening on this map. WE have invested Beishang, Missing, and Teacherma to try and get some of this aggression off of from the VICI mid laner, but not going to find the success, which means they're not getting Teacherma out of lane, and VICI are actually getting the opportunity to come back.
Beishang's come in. Everybody's come in. The damage onto Hung is massive, and there's a collateral damage to top it all off. Forge knocked up, finished off by Teacherma, and on towards the Rift Herald.
Why VICI decided to start that is absolutely beyond me. They were doing such a good job of keeping themselves in check, but Forge is not a one-man army right now. With Ike so far behind, with Cube not being able to join in that fight, especially with the range on Morgan's ultimate, it was always going to go in favor of WE.
I just saw Forge take a sip of his coffee like, this is fine.
My job is done here.
Yeah, he didn't do anything.
I said it done, goddammit.
Oh dear, unfortunate. And you know what? We were just talking about how you got to play around Teacherma. You got to play around the fact that Galio can be a part of anything. They force him back to base, and they're like, haha, everyone's recalled. And then you quickly remember that Morgan's there with the Call of the Forge Guard, and Teacherma can fly across the map.
Dragon, though, might go over. Will go over. There we go to VICI. So they're at least able to get something back, and talked about delaying these dragons is super nice, but I'm not sure what the call here was from VICI. You know that you're missing from the bottom lane. You're not going to be able to get into a position here to actually try and fight, and all that CC, all that layering that's coming through means it's impossible to try and fight against WE.
Honestly, even without Teacherma, WE win that fight. Beishang one-shot Hung in that fight. He got his end of the line, bounced immediately with a couple of autos, and then collateral damage. Jobs are good.
That's what we said. I mean, Hung is going to be squishier than the set right now. He's gone towards the Moby boots first, whereas when you look towards Missing, even though he was only the level 5, with that Giant's belt and the innate tankiness of the shield, Missing's able to take far more hits before he goes down. And Hung goes down, then it's Forge left on his own because Ikes has got to get the hell out of dodge. He's still a level behind. And now that he's invested time into trying to kill that Rift Herald, it's only going to have slowed down his progression to getting back to a normal state.
Forge is still the forerunner, though, in this game. Unfortunately for him, he's followed by a lot of the players on WE, which means the gold lead itself is going to be in their favor. A lot of pressure on Forge. I was saying the pressure was going to be on iBoy. Right now, the pressure is on Forge to continue this ball rolling for his team. I say keep it rolling. He's going to just do it himself right now. Gets a huge amount of damage on his team. I feel like we've seen that exact same thing about 4 or 5 times already this game.
There's not much you can do as Teacherma. You have to go up to farm your Winds of War. Can't try and clear out the wave just yet, but we go mid.
That is some impressive wave clear. That is better wave clear than I thought Galio had.
Galio's very good with wave clear if he can get into uses Justice Punch alongside the Winds of War, but you got to go aggressive and into the wave for that, which is not always ideal.
Definitely not ideal against Forge right now. Missing, gets a face breaker onto iBoy. Teleport channeled by Teacherma here.
Missy not able to manage the showstopper in time to get iBoy away from the Lantern, and now we're seeing WE, the cracks are showing. Couldn't get the play, but here we go.
Teacherma's in trouble here. Forge knows he wants to start this fight. Beautifully punished. Taunt, though, comes on through. It's onto Forge. Beishang's here. Knock up, and there's a huge amount of damage. The Aatrox just can't survive. Chrono Break, though, is going to mean that Ikes can answer, and with a Lantern out of Hung, he gets away with murder.
Well managed to get the kill and get away, but Forge does go down, and Beishang slowly starting to accumulate a lot of gold. This Graves getting pretty big, and when you look at VICI, there's not a huge amount of people that can try and deal with him. You look towards, okay, Ike's trying to be that assassin. Well, it's not going to be great. If Beishang can try and play away from Forge, especially with the help of Missing and Morgan, he can do a lot of work in these team fights.
Herald dropped in the bottom lane, so a lot of this gold will be funneled onto Joe Monk. Missing has to get away from this one. That was a little bit close for him. So the Herald will charge, but it just after the plates have gone down, so nothing really going to be achieved there except a little bit of damage. This mid lane matchup has got really weird, because look at the scoreboard right now. 1, 2, and 1 on both of our mid laners, and it's the junglers that have been the benefactor of all of this.
It is still Forge favored right now, though Teacherma doesn't quite have the health bar to try and deal with Forge's damage output. But
nice little trade through Morgan there. Punishes Cube for stepping too far forward, trying to get some harass underneath the tower.
the fact we've had so little turret plates go down is kind of insane.
It's pretty bonkers. We've had one on either side. And, do you know, after game number 1, I can kind of understand the team's just going, look, let's just take it easy for a minute. I need 10 minutes. I need to just chill during the laning phase here.
Well, there's a couple of people on WE that definitely need to. I mean, Jomong, want him getting towards the Iceborne Gauntlet. We want him getting towards that Manamune. You look towards Morgan as well. He just wants to get some of that Sunfire Cape finished, so he's not only going into these fights with a bunch of magic resists. So WE want to play this nice and slow so far and still try and keep Beishang ramping up the pressure with Teacher.
Morgan gets wrecked by Cube there, but he does get a knock-up back and Beishang's arrived. Cube is going to be very low under this tower. But actually, it's Ike's coming to answer for the play. Forge is here as well. Teacherma's on the way. But his grand entrance isn't available right now. Morgan forced to flash. Forge low, though, and Teacherma's coming on in. Won't find the taunt, though. Everybody backs away. No kills go either way.
VICI are trying to make a play before this Rift Herald spawns. They've already moved Hung and iBoy up from that bottom lane. You can see, though, that Jomong has stayed sitting in this bottom lane. They want to try and trade that Rift Herald for either the, well, actually, it will be the turret bot lane, thanks to that Rift Herald going down there earlier.
I don't know if anyone saw that. Missing waited until the very last split second. He had a stack. The turret shot was about to hit the cannon, and he managed to give the cannon over to Morgan. It didn't matter, but it was nice to see.
First tower going to WE. So now, actually, Hulk.
Yeah, Morgan's not really the target, though. I don't think much can come of that one. Dragon spawning, though, and it's an Ocean Drake. WE, for the second game running, are going to be able to even the Drakes up here in the early game. It'll be one apiece. Beishang able to smite that one away in the end. And now move towards the rest of his jungle once more. So, good stuff from WE to find advantages when they can.
So again, this is not looking more so towards the very late game scaling, because both teams are going to be somewhat even. It's more about VICI, because they've gotten one dragon for themselves, that they can wait till iBoy has his 3 items and they can fight on even footing.
So Dagda, explain something to me here, because I'm a little bit confused. When we look at the CS numbers, it's pretty much even across the board. Yeah, a couple of differences, but nothing crazy. When we look at the kill score, it's about even as well. But WE have a 1,500 gold lead. Where on earth has that come from? Because there was no turret plates either.
There wasn't turret plates, but there's a tower gone in this bottom side, which is a much bigger factor for these guys. And I'm pretty sure I saw Jomong picking up a coal nice and early too. So there is some residual gold that's coming in across the board. But definitely it's going to be a lot of that in just Jomong being able to pick up some of these not turret plates even, the tower on the bottom side of the board.
See Beishang as well. It does have a pretty sizable CS lead in that jungle, so I guess a good portion of that might be on him. 3-2 on the scoreboard right now, and Rift Herald on the map. Both teams posturing like they want to fight for this.
So if VICI are the ones that approach this first, they will end up losing out. I thought that the trade was going to be, as the second WE went towards Dragon, VICI would go towards this Rift Herald, but now that WE have got into a position to actually contest this, it makes it very difficult for VICI to come back, because if they're able to catch on towards Ike's, if you've got Cube who's trying to play this nice and far forward, you can still have these big showstoppers come in, get on towards iBoy, and a lot of VICI need to be clumped up together in these fights, which sets up perfectly for Missing in these face breakers.
Missing and Morgan going to be quite happy to start a fight off here. They are the targets that they would love VICI to focus on, but Forge is completely alone and has already started the fight. Ignite and a collateral damage. Missing gets the kill. And that is the Herald gifted over by Forge.
I mean, Cube has his teleport, but he wasn't even looking to start moving. Why Forge was in River is beyond me. So now, VICI, yeah, you can get some damage on this bottom lane turret. Morgan has got a good job of rotating down to protect this. So it's Rift Herald essentially for free.
You know, like 10 minutes ago, I was like, a lot of pressure is on Forge right here. He is not living up to that pressure. He is not able to deal with that pressure at this point, because this Aatrox, while it looked pretty good during some of these early fights and it was trading well against Teacherma, he's died 3 times in 20 minutes.
You see Colonel has very quickly changed his tune from the very start of the game, where WE now
Classic
looking
Colonel.
pretty good, but this is the case now where WE find themselves at a bit of a lead. You've opened up Teacher Man now as well, where at least with this bottom lane turret down, you can start to put a bit more pressure into where the vision is going. If Beishang wants to get in aggressive, start stealing away some of these blue buffs, and chip away at this turret in the mid lane with Jomung and try to get these outer turrets down.
This is the problem with the Colonel, though, isn't it, Dagda? He's more of a flip-flop than a pair of sandals. He changes his mind every single game. Whoever he reckons is going to win, he just waits 20 minutes and then changes his prediction. How come I don't get to change my prediction, Dagda?
Well, I think it's basically what we need to do is take the Twitter image that we put up and just like cross your little one out, and you can put in whatever you want.
I might just cross Forge's portrait out at this point, because once again, he's found out alone. This time he's going to survive a bit more. There's not too much damage here. Forge walks away barely, but Ike's is... Oh, Jomung! Oh, what a snipe.
Teacher Ma's in such a good spot here. If he just wants to wrap around, he gets amazing flank here.
He has his flash available as well, and iBoy is going to be the target. Taunt onto 3. Hung the one, left out to dry here. Good flay from him, but no damage to follow up. And iBoy, he's an Aphelios. He's not going to be able to do it just yet. Jomung keeping away from Cube in the Death Realm. Pull on to Teach him out, but it doesn't quite land. Now Cube has to back away himself. Taunt barely out of range. No, it gets onto Ikes in the end. Forced away and finished off by the end of the line. And once again, WE in the early game look amazing.
And again, it's off the back of these picks, finding it in the enemy jungle, where you've got Morgan, Beishang, Teacher Mag going aggressive. Thought they might have turned towards that Baron, but a little bit worried about the damage iBoy can do. He does have some, the Calibrum and Severum. You're still looking at Forge potentially coming back into this, so they will back away.
Kind of surprised Morgan's not going to get a couple of hits in on that tower, but realizing he needs to get back to base, he needs to be ready because Dragon's spawning in 15 seconds. So VICI, they have to regroup right now and look towards fighting again, because they can't afford to just let WE snowball these dragons, because it's Infernals.
And it's actually a bit of a blessing in disguise for WE that VICI managed to take this early Cloud Drake, because now they've got the ability to stack a few more Infernals under their belt. And with this Rift Tower going down in mid, they want to put pressure on this turret while the rest of them are getting control of this river area.
True Shot Mirage goes through. I think they were maybe planning on going for a dive.
Well,
there.
they can just go straight towards Dragon. Forge showed top lane. He has no teleport, so they know they're safe. So WE just going to start up this Dragon. No answer from VICI. And as VICI, do you really want to try and fight here? You're 1-4 on Forge. Your Aphelios has only got an item and a half. Maybe Cube can help carry a little bit of this fight, but he's only really going to be able to deal with one person at a time.
And I love that Morgan already has given Beishang that Obsidian Cleaver. He's like, look, Beishang, you're 4-0-3. You look amazing on the Graves, and I really like what you're wearing today. Have yourself a big old cleaver. Carry us to victory.
Well, it sure isn't going to be Ikes, who's definitely struggled in this game at least. Off of that early pressure from Beishang, Ikes has fallen further and further behind. Trying to go for these objectives meant that he wasn't farming his own jungle, and now Beishang sitting 2 levels above his opponent.
So far, so good here for WE. 7-2 on the scoreboard. Slowly but surely pushing this gold lead for themselves. Jomung on this Ezreal. He's got his Mana Moon. He's got his Iceborne Gauntlet. And now he gets to move in onto this mid lane tier 1 tower. Good answer though from VICI. 3 members strong. They're going to be able to clear the waves.
Teacher Ma is going to be able to get this top lane turret, which is why WE are moving up here to support him.
So what is the plan right now? If you're VICI, what do you do? Because the current plan is not working.
I mean, you don't do this.
They're going to get knocked up. That's the plan right now. Cube pulls someone in. Ikes can't really get in either. Missing, still surviving. And it's a little bit standoffish here. Neither team really wants to fully commit to the play that was happening.
A bit messy from WE. There's no reason for you to try an ARAM right now. You have this style of composition that can do very well with forcing Teacher Ma to draw members up towards this top side, and then use the aggression of Beishang and Missing to set up for plays while in range of this semi-global from Teacher Ma. But now instead they're going to end up losing mid lane because they're not able to follow up here with that big ultimate from Morgan.
They might look to try and force a fight after it though. Jomung barely got away with his life there. He was a split second from being stunned by the parallel convergence. I think WE might be able to just trade these mid lane towers now as Missing looks towards flanks. It's actually going to be Jomon caught up here by Hung. There's no follow-up available as Cube pulls him into the Death Realm. Maybe Cube can actually finish off Jomon, but Jomon's looking for the 1v1 in the Death Realm. Cube goes gold and keeps himself safe. iBoy pulled into the fight and finished off as well. And WE continue as they mean to go on towards Forge, who gets his 19th death of the game, and the mid lane tower is finally cracked.
So well played by Jomon and Missing there. Morgan
cares not.
The stutter laugh is what you like to see, but they will turn towards this Baron now.
Oh, it was the... Oh, hang on. Missing gets kind of betrayed there by Beisheng. Hung forced away. Ike's is here, but this would be a miracle steal if he were able to get it. Jomon knows he's there, though. Missing knows as well. He's going to be forced away. The Dark Passage removed, and, well, a Baron now in favor of WE. A 10-2 scoreline and a commanding lead overall.
It's looking very, very good for WE right now. And off of just that, what was the hook from Hung, what VICI thought they could follow up on, but it's about getting this damage down so then Cube can follow up, which is what they tried to do, but Jomon turning this fight around in the Death Realm. And then as well, watch Missing here. Flash in, gets the face breaker, gets the pull out for iBoy, and there's nowhere for him to run to.
Just beautiful. And, you know, iBoy actually got a really good Moonlight Vigil there because everyone was stacked up, but no one else was there to jump in. No one else was there to back him up, and it feels like VICI starting to get a little bit discombobulated because that should have been a great fight. Hung started that with a perfect catch onto Jomon. Nobody was in position, though. And it means that they can't group up. They can't finish any of these kills off. And now they're in a real tough situation. And also, importantly, Jomon got pulled into the Death Realm. Well, he's on Ezreal, and he's fed. So he's like, oh, there are no minions to block my Qs. Fantastic. You're dead.
Exactly what Jomon wanted. And, I mean, you can see the damage that this Ezreal is doing, even when we consider this defensive build with the Death Stance and the Iceborne Gauntlet. Doesn't matter. You hit so hard.
It does insane damage anyway. But I think that's the thing. Like, ultimately, this build still does a ton of damage. It's just the Triforce build does even more than that. It does Mondo damage, I believe is the scientific term. Morgan is going to be looking to do Mondo damage to this tower in the bottom lane. Beisheng moves on over, and with the Demolish with the Baron minions, it's an easy pickup for them.
And it's perfect for WE to just play towards these towers, push them in. You've still got Teacher Matt in range of that ultimate to come into the safety of WE if needs be, but they can always just back away towards this Infernal Soul point as this Baron buff falls off in just over a minute.
They do have to wait around a little bit because Teacher Matt hasn't got that minion wave in quite the right spot to aggress at the same time. And in fact, he's going to be moving up towards the top side of the map. Doesn't have teleport available right now, so it's kind of bold of them to send Teacher Matt top and start the Dragon at the same time. Maybe it's not.
It's hard.
VICI are doing nothing.
It's hard for VICI to respond. They've got so many waves that are shoved in. They've got to clear, so not able to do very much. Ikes will try and steal away a blue buff in return, but you take that trade.
Yeah, I'd take a third Drake of the game for a blue buff. That's a trade I'd be willing to make. Teacher Matt could be in a 1v2 here. Bear in mind, he is officially ahead of Forge at this point in the game, as Forge is not having a fun time. He's closed that CS gap. Missing, looking for Ikes. Facebreaker doesn't quite land. Mimic keeps him safe. Now Call of the Forge God. Morgan stole the red buff with the Call of the Forge God, by the way. True Shot Barrage, not gonna connect. VICI survived for now. World Ender was used, though. WE don't quite find the fight that they were looking for.
They just want to force VICI towards topside. They can move in here to take this mid lane turret. They're happy as they can be. And WE are really hitting their stride here. You've got these big item completions coming through on Beisheng, Jomon, Morgan, and even Teacher Ma as well, having that Zhonya's Paradox added to his repertoire thanks to Morgan's ult.
Oh, it's beautiful to see. And this is, I mean, this is why in the first game of the series, this Galio was banned away from Teacher Ma, right? Because when they can play around this style, this is their strength. Jomon has gone way too deep, but maybe not, because he's Ezreal and he jumps up the wall.
Flash, Arcane Shift. So no flash available means he's a little bit easier to lock onto next time, but realistically, as long as you don't take that step too far, you're pretty safe as Jomon. So waiting now for these objectives to respawn. A Baron in 2 minutes. You can see a lot of vision control already in that river for WE. It's just about, as this ticking goes down, they can move in again onto VICI side of the map and secure that vision for themselves. And then it becomes very difficult for VICI to try and enter, because Cube's not really tanky enough, Forge isn't really tanky enough to deal with a lot of the CC chain and the damage WE offer right now.
We're in a real tricky situation now for VICI, as they are colossally behind in this game. Morgan is becoming just about invincible. He's actually gone for a Warmogs this game as well, so even if he's at the start of the fight taking a bunch of damage, he can just step out for a couple of minutes and come back full health.
And the thing is, for VICI, trying to engage onto WE is such a bad idea, because you're running into face breakers for missing, you're running into Teacher Ma's ultimate.
iBoy's in trouble here, missing. He's looking for a way to get behind him. I think he's been spotted though, so iBoy should be safe. Oh, that's a catch though. They're coming on in onto missing. It's not enough damage. Knockups from Teacher Ma into a taunt. Cube desperately trying to hold Jomung at bay, but Hung forced to flash away. Forge can't do anything. This Cube strolls out of his own death realm. Nobody goes down, but that kind of favors WE as they begin hitting away. Now, Call of the Forge God, they get one knockup. It's only onto Cube. Can they follow up? He goes golden, and now it's onto iBoy. He's the one with the Felios this time, and he's the one churning through these health bars. Double for iBoy, and WE forced away.
Bit too far from WE. They just needed to turn towards tower and towards the inhibitor, but instead trying to get the play, trying to be a little bit more in, or get a little bit more under their belt, and means that iBoy manages to turn it around. But you can see in that play, when VICI tried to turn that engage around, they jump onto missing. He's so tanky right now with the Dead Man's Plate, even had that stopwatch still available, but does potentially give VICI the opportunity to go towards this Baron.
If they can get this Baron, maybe they can turn this fight around, turn this game around even. Cube teleports up as well. 5 of them strong. Jomung is here though, and he does a lot right now. Morgan steps into the fray.
Teacher Ma has
knock up
smite.
onto everyone. Teacher Ma has smite indeed, but he has a huge taunt as well. And everything for Teacher Ma. Look at that kill feed. He is the Galio God.
WE come back once again and snatch VICI away from victory.
iBoy's not...
sorry.
No, I take it back. iBoy is done.
iBoy is done. VICI are done. WE once again come out, and the boss will stay standing.
What a performance from WE. What a performance from Teacher Ma. This is why you ban his Galio. He will win the game. And if that ain't a heroic entrance, I don't know what is.
WE managed to bring it all together in this game. Game number 1, very much on a knife's edge, where it could have gone towards VICI, it could have gone towards WE. But WE in game number 2 strike back on comfort. They find the picks, they find the fights.